Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're back in the shop. I'm the fabricating guy on this side of the camera. There's a guy on the other side of the camera, and his name is Mitch. So we just finished up a 3-part series where we made the ignition mount on the Cub, and that was a lot of work. So I need an easy afternoon. So we got an easy project. Actually, we got a few things we can do. And I'm going to make a velocity stack for this amyl carburetor. It's sort of like if a woman goes on a date, she wants to choose the dress she wears or whatever. When I go riding on the Cub, I'd like to be able to choose an air filter or a velocity stack. So we're going to do that. A couple days ago, I made a new intake system, a new manifold. We're going to call it a manifold, even though a manifold is more than one. I know we've had comments about that. This was the first one. This was the second one. Now we're on the third one because this is a different head. The spacing is different. So this is the final one, I feel. And we're also going to, once we get the velocity stack made, how long can that take, right? We got a crank we're going to take apart. It's a Tiger Cub crank that's been really thrashed, and some of the viewers wanted to look inside. So let's get started. We're going to go to the lathe, and we're going to make a big hole to start with. I'm going to see if I can make a velocity stack in 45 minutes. We don't know if that's possible yet. I know I can buy a velocity stack, but what fun is that? Anyone can do that as long as they're in stock. I want something a little bit custom here. So, okay, we're going to make the velocity stack about that long, okay? So, red felt pen marks the drill. We have to set up the threading now, and that's my threading tool, internal carbide threading tool. So I need to steal a holder from somewhere. What am I going to use? I'm only short 2 holders, that's all. So if you're working on a lathe, you look for the 24. So here we are. We're on C6. See that? There's the 24, C6. So this is A, B, C, D, E. So we want the C. We put it on. Sometimes you have to move the chuck to get this to, there we go, C. And then here we've got 8. We need it on the 6. So there we go. We got C6. We switch this over for threading. This is for turning. That's the feed. This is threading. We don't have to change any gears. We change the feed. And we'll use a felt pen, a red felt pen, and we'll take a very small cut, and then we'll use the thread gauge on the marks made into the felt pen surface, because you always want to check to make sure you didn't screw up. Okay, so I set that to 0. So when this comes in, that's where I stop, right there. So I'll set this at 0. I want to go in 350. So each one is 1/8 of an inch, 125.125. So that's 1/8, and that's 1/4. And then we go 100 thou more. So that's basically, so when I go to the 0 in there, I've gone in 350 thou. That's the thread that I want. Can you see here? What we're doing is we're checking. You have to get the light right. And that looks okay to me. So we're going to go with that. Okay, see the end of the cross feed? I'm making a mark there with a felt pen so that I know where my dial is, and so if I'm out of turn, I can see it because that red felt pen has to line up with the end of that. It's just a little trick. Okay, we're going to take one more cut, and then we're going to check it. Okay, so it's starting to engage, but it's tight. Now I know I'm at about the right spot. Ooh, that's a big cut. The threading is the trick. Okay, we have a thread. Look at that. Almost no, well, no, there's no slop. Okay. I'm going to use a tool that I just made. Where did that tool go? There it is. See, it's got a rounded corner, but see this one here? It's going to hit on the inside. See how shallow this is? So it's kind of the same shape, more or less, but this one gets in more. So that's what we're going to use. I got a scraper, a triangular scraper, so I'm going to use an edge to round this. It only took 55 minutes. So say an hour from start to finish. Anyway, let's go do something else. We're going to take apart a flywheel now. So let's go back to the bench. I'll show you what's going on. I think that turned out okay. So just on a side note, I have a folder, and inside here I've got all my invoices for what I've spent on the Cub, and I got pages listing everything. So my survey to you is, when you work on a motorcycle, do you keep a track of the cost? I asked a few of my friends, and as soon as I asked the question, a few of them said, no, I never look at my invoices. I never add it up. So let me know if you add it up or you don't add it up. Let's do some kind of an informal survey here. So we're going to work on this now. Remember this from a week ago or something like that? Someone wanted me to take it apart, so I think that's a good idea. What we have to do is to make up a press plate. Can you see this here? This is what has to go on through there around the connecting rod so that we can hold it in the press. So we've got a hole saw. We're going to go to the mill. Going to use a bandsaw just to cut this out a little bit, and then we're going to use the arbor press, I think, because this is cracked, so it's not going to be holding super firmly. Can you see the crack there? That's how much abuse this little Tiger Cub went through. So okay, we got this set up here. We're going to press on the pin. So we'll see how much pressure it takes. See if my little arbor press. There we go. Look at that. Because it's cracked. Otherwise, this would take a lot more force. All right. Let's do an autopsy and see what's going on here. So it looks to me like the rod has sort of survived, but all the bearings, there's supposed to be roller bearings in here, and there's part of a bearing race here. Anyway, there's basically, there was some kind of a bearing in there, and the bearing has gone. So that's what we're left with. Anyway, for those of you that wanted to see this, there it is. There's the inside of a Tiger Cub flywheel assembly. I have a Tiger Cub frame here, obviously, because of the weird shape here. This is the one that I had a problem with. It was my fault, and I kind of have destroyed the frame a bit. This casting here is split, and that's a very hard thing to fix because on the tube here, I'll call this the seat tube, it's brazed in between this lug and this lug. So how you take that out, I don't know. Why I'm telling you this is because I got contacted by someone a couple days ago, and he's in England, and he has an extra frame, and he told me that he would cut out this piece here and he would give it to me for free if I want to pay the postage. Well, that's very nice, but if I'm going to fix this frame, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hacksaw it right here, and then on the other frame, I would get that piece and I would put a sleeve, an internal sleeve, and I would do it that way. And the reason that I want to save this frame is because it's got a serial number and I have the registration for this. Otherwise, it's just a piece of steel. So what we're going to do is to hacksaw this, and then I'll know how much that weighs and the size of the box, and then we can get an estimate for shipping. So let's do a little hacksaw here. Every time I pick up a hacksaw now or think about a hacksaw, I think of this guy called Alan Milliard. I know you've heard of him. And so, Alan, this first cut's, it's to you, okay? Got a brand new blade. So we'll see what we can do here. See if I can make a straight cut. There you go. So it sprung a little bit. There we go. Good catch, Paul. Did you? I know you got that, Mitch. Look at him. He's got a huge grin on his face. So anyway, that's what we need. I'm gonna figure out the weight and all that, and maybe one will come from England. Wow, well that was a fun afternoon. I hope you enjoyed being in the shop here with us. It's good having you along. Mitch and I like coffee. If you buy us some coffees, that'd be most appreciated. We'll see you next week. Take care.